Today, we are going to be talking about meditation. I would actually break it down into easy forms of meditation, intermediate, and also advanced forms. Now, meditation has been profound in terms of my life and how it has helped me in so many ways. And it also gives me that little extra edge in terms of performance. It's been around for many years and it dates back in some of the religions in Hinduism, in Buddhism, and also Taoism. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest challenge here is actually performing it and then having a schedule of what to do for meditation. But if you get to that sweet spot of about 20 minutes, you then really get into a flow state and a meditative state. And the more you do it, the quicker you'll get into it. Now, there's no hard or fast rules here. It's all about experimenting and really finding out what actually feels good for you and what works for you. Welcome back to the show, and I'm your host, Dr. Gan, and today we are going to be talking about meditation. Now, meditation has been profound in terms of my life and how it has helped me in so many ways, and it also gives me that little extra edge in terms of performance. It's been around for many years, and it dates back in some of the religions in Hinduism, in Buddhism, and also Taoism. And now it has become almost mainstream in terms of everyone using or accessing meditation in some forms. So the benefits are there for meditation, and they have been studied for many years. And they include reducing stress levels by essentially dropping the stress hormone cortisol in our bodies. It can also help with anxiety and depression. It can help increase your focus and also improve your sleep. And there is some evidence to suggest that it helps reduce your blood pressure, reduce your chances of developing diabetes and other medical issues that can develop, and also improve your immune system. So, we do know that there are benefits of meditation, but there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect in terms of actually practicing meditation and incorporating it into our lives. Now, personally, I've been meditating maybe over 20 years now. And probably in the last 8 years, I've actually made it a consistent habit that I do almost every day. And I would say, even in the last 2 or 3 years, I probably haven't missed a day of meditation. But then it has taken me that long to sort of get my flow into this process. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest challenge here is actually performing it and then having a schedule of what to do for meditation. And if you actually read a lot or you've probably seen it online, there are just multiple methods of meditating. And I thought today, to make it easier to most of our listeners out there, I would actually break it down into easy forms of meditation, intermediate, and also advanced forms. Now, in no way am I saying that you have to start with the easiest and move down, but if you find it challenging to actually meditate on your own or even get into a rhythm of it, probably starting with the easier ones would be the best option for you. Now, to start off with, probably the easiest thing that you can do is what is known as mindfulness meditation. Now, the reason I sort of put it under the easy category is because you don't actually require anything. And all you need to do is actually sit with your eyes closed. Now, most people will say that you need to find a quiet spot and you can sit cross legged, or you can actually sit on a chair, or you can even do it lying down. But I would suggest avoid the lying down option just because there's a very high chance when you lie down and you're quite restful, you will actually fall asleep. I've often done this, especially when I'm trying to sleep, by lying down, hoping that I will sleep, and it sometimes works. So, the way mindfulness meditation is performed is essentially you sit with your eyes closed and you do not interact with the thoughts that come to your mind. Now, the first thing that happens when you ever practice mindfulness meditation and close your eyes is that for a split second, you may feel nice and relaxed with no thoughts in your head. But within the first 5 to 10 seconds, you will have thoughts racing in. And this could include, what are you going to eat for food? What are you going to do next week? How are you going to reply to that email? How are you going to discuss a difficult challenge that you recently had? And the thoughts will keep flying in. And the idea behind mindfulness meditation, or at least when I performed it, was that I would allow the thoughts to come. I would recognize that these thoughts are coming. I will let them come through and pass by, and I will not engage with them. What I mean by that is that if you have a challenging situation, at work or anywhere in your life, and all of a sudden you come up with an idea to solve it, I would not be interacting with the idea to solve it, but rather noticing that these thoughts are coming in and then they leave as well, and the next thought comes in. So when you then change from being observing these thoughts and then interacting, which is what we do every day, basically keeps us safe in a lot of ways, like when we're driving and a car cuts into us, or we see a red light and we have to stop, or you see someone crossing the road. You're basically engaging with what you see, the thoughts in your head, and what you need to do. But when you close your eyes and you are observing the thoughts, essentially you're allowing them to come and you then become the observer of these thoughts, but you don't engage with them. Now, when you first start doing this, it is going to be absolutely difficult because you can't help but to connect with it. And even if you don't connect with it and you say, I should stop thinking about thoughts, you will just keep thinking of thoughts. So you have to actually sit there for a good 5 to 10 minutes to allow all your thoughts to sort of come in and finally sort of dissipate. And they always do, but it just depends how long it takes for them to dissipate. And when you're starting off, the hardest part is sitting down and waiting for the thoughts to kind of just settle. At some point, they will settle and you'll reach this point of calmness, and you'll be in that state of what we call flow or meditation, and that's the state that you're aiming for. The unfortunate part is, and I think one of the rookie mistakes that a lot of people make is that for the first 5 minutes, it's the hardest. And you often think that this is not going to work. And I've just wasted 5 minutes sitting here, and you move on with your day. And the other challenge that often comes up when it happens is that if you reach that flow state or that meditative state where everything is in balance, you then want to chase it the next day. And sometimes the act of wanting to, or the expectation of having that same day the next day doesn't happen. And then you can go through that phase of actually feeling a bit disappointed because it didn't happen. But mindfulness meditation would probably be the start for one of the easiest ways you can get into it. And as I said, the best part is there are lots of apps out there that allow you to use mindfulness meditation, and they almost have guided meditations whereby you can listen to music playing in the background, whether you're using headphones or in your room using speakers, and it can get you into that state a little bit easier by relaxing you. Moving on from mindfulness meditation, I would say breathing meditation. And the reason for this is similar to mindfulness. You can sit with your eyes open or closed. I prefer closed because there isn't any visual distractions. You take nice breaths through your nose and you inhale to the count of 4 or 6, whatever feels comfortable. And then you can exhale to the count of 6 to 8, whereby your exhalation is a little bit longer than your inhalation. And essentially, what you're doing is that you're trying to relax your body by activating your parasympathetic system. And on another episode, I'll go through the different systems with sympathetic and parasympathetic and how that actually can influence your body. But to make it really simple here, by breathing and watching your breath go in through your nostrils, into your lungs, and then exhaling. I like to do it through my nose rather than through your mouth. But if you feel better, you can actually do it through your mouth and exhale through your mouth. So you're sort of watching that momentum of going in, coming out. And again, this can be quite relaxing. And at some point, you will get into that flow state and also that meditative state. Now, one of the things that happens, again, similar to the mindfulness practice, is that you may find yourself when you're breathing starting to think about life and everything that you can think about. As I mentioned, when am I going to feed the dog? I can hear some noises in the background. And so, what you do is that when thoughts come in, you then go back to your breath. So every time you notice a thought coming and you don't want to engage in it, but somehow another thoughts come, go back to the breath and remember or almost visualize that process of air coming through your nose into your lungs and then back out again. So that would be my second easy option. And you can actually go between both of them because sometimes just sitting still is hard. But when you're breathing, you're actually doing an activity that then helps to sort of distract you from just sitting there and feeling bored. What am I doing right now? So if you find that breathing, observing your breath is easier than just practicing mindfulness, you can then do that. Next on the list would be observing sensations. Now, again, there's a lot of guided meditations out there that run you through a practice whereby you sit and you relax your body, and then eventually you feel sensations on your body. And for some, it would be sensations on your face, it could be your chest, it could be your legs. And really, you want to get into a relaxed state. Now, I find that this meditation is really good at relaxing you. And with most meditations that are sort of focused on a relaxed state, there's often the risk of you actually falling asleep. So I would say that if you feel quite relaxed and you feel the sensations and you're actually quite focused and awake with it, then you can practice the act of actually just feeling sensations on your body. For example, when you first practice observing sensations, you might find that you start getting really itchy in certain spots that you weren't before because all of a sudden your focus has gone from your thoughts in your head to all of a sudden certain parts of your body. So you might feel like you're itchy in your arm, or you might feel a bit of heat if you're sitting down on your bottom, or you might feel the heat on your legs. And that's why using the guided meditations that a lot of applications or apps out there do will actually guide you through the process so that you don't go through this process where you're feeling a lot of sensation in various parts of your body. Next, we'll move into the intermediate forms of meditation. Now, the first one I would mention would be mantra meditation. The whole idea of mantra is a word that resonates with you. For many years, people have used the word Om, which is coming from Hinduism. And again, it is a holy and revered sound that is supposed to resonate with your body and also the cells in your body. Now, when you look at mantra meditation, the idea again is that you're using a word to distract you from the thoughts that are coming into your mind. So, when you close your eyes and you're sitting down and you're attempting to meditate by using a word such as I am love and repeating it, you almost imagine this word in your head whereby you see I am love and you repeatedly say the words I am love and repeat it multiple times. Now what will happen, as it always does, is that thoughts will keep coming in and distracting you from the idea of actually seeing the words come in. But you have to remember to sort of bring yourself back to that place where you can see the words, or even if you don't see the words, you can imagine the words in your third eye or in your mind. If you can repeatedly do this, at some point you will reach a state whereby you're in flow and that meditative state and you feel completely relaxed. Now, a lot of people use mantra meditation, especially when they have a guide or a teacher that has taught them how to use it. But by just repeating certain words that resonate with you, you don't need a guide. And you can also have guided meditations that may repeat certain words and you can use it if it resonates with you, or you can use something that you feel happier with. Now, there's no hard or fast rules here. It's all about experimenting and really finding out what actually feels good for you and what works for you. So, if you're ready to sort of take it up a little bit or take it up a notch, I would recommend using sort of mantra meditation. Next, you got metta meditation, also known as love and kindness meditation. Now, here, what you do is that the way I kind of explain it to people is that I imagine myself like a pot and I imagine myself full of love and compassion. So if you close your eyes and you think of all the happy things in your life that make you happy, whether it's family, whether it's certain moments or certain memories that you can remember, you just fill yourself up with so much joy and feel it in your heart. And for the first couple of minutes, that's all you're doing. You're actually just generating that energy of love and compassion and feeling it all through your body. And then for the next few minutes, you then start pushing it out and and sending that love to the people around you. It could be your family in the house, it could be your colleagues or people at work, if you're at work and you're performing this. And then from your workplace, you then just move out and you just get bigger and bigger and bigger until you feel that you're actually reaching out to everyone in the world and you're just sending love to them. Now, the magical thing about performing this form of meditation is that you tend to sort of feel this energy just revolving within you, almost like a ball of of heightened energy. And the moment you start passing it out, you just can't help but feel good because you just feel like your entire body is energized. Now, as much as I put it in the intermediate section, you could start off by performing this meditation just by yourself because it's easy to think of thoughts that make you happy, but it is a form of meditation whereby you're focusing the love that you generate internally and then passing it out. Now, once you go down the line of becoming more advanced in your meditation, then you can go down the line of potentially something that is known as Vipassana meditation or silent meditation. And there are a lot of courses out there that teach you how to perform Vipassana meditation. And often they go for about 10 days. Now, I've spoken about this before in another show about Vipassana meditation and how you go into this silent retreat and you're not supposed to talk to anyone. And every day they go through classes on how you actually perform it. But to break it down and make it really simple, essentially with Vipassana meditation, you're focusing again on sensations, similar to what we spoke about for the easy way of meditating. But here you're actually getting really focused on certain parts of your body and you're allowing those or allowing that flow that you feel from your head all the way down the toes and then back up again. As you get more advanced in Vipassana meditation, you go from feeling it to this on the surface to then feeling it deeper in within your cells, within your organs, and just going deeper. And oftentimes, a after you've done the Vipassana training, at the end of Vipassana meditation, they often end with a metta or kindness and love and compassion meditation, whereby they're sending out love anyways. Another form that I would say I would put under the expert meditation techniques would be transcendental meditation, which again sort of is similar to using a mantra, but the difference is you're guided through the process and you have a teacher that gives you a certain word that then resonates with you, which then becomes the word that you use when you do your meditations. Then you have Qigong meditation, which is kind of used with Chinese medicine, and it kind of goes with the philosophy of Taoism, whereby they use Qigong by using flow states, by using breathing, and by also using stillness as a form of meditation. Now, I haven't really practiced a lot of Qigong meditation in all honesty, but it is one that's very powerful and a lot of people use it and see a lot of benefits. Now, the best way to learn obviously is to have a teacher teach you the methods of how to actually develop your practice and also how to continue and make it a consistent practice as well. And then finally, we have also an advanced method of breathing meditation, and I put it under the advanced method because if you're already finding it challenging to sit down and actually meditate, even by using guided meditation, this type of meditation with breathing and heart rate variability would probably be a little bit more advanced. Now, with heart rate variability, I'll probably do another show probably describing the whole technique and what it actually means. But to make it really simple, we have our sympathetic system, which gets activated when we're scared or we're fearful or we need to do something immediately. And then you got the parasympathetic, whereby it's a more relaxed state. And so with heart rate variability, essentially trying to get into that phase where you're in that relaxed state, and I will go through the details on another show on what it actually means and how it is quantified. But there are lots of books out there, and I believe one by Dr. Leah Lagos called Invincible will probably be the best place to start. And it will teach you all about how you actually monitor your heart rate and the variability that you have. And it's almost like a form of biofeedback, whereby the way you breathe and the way your heart rate goes affects how you feel and how relaxed you can be. Now, I remember watching a movie with Hulk in it, whereby he was actually practicing these techniques. And most people would know Hulk, when he gets angry as a human being, he then becomes this monster, which is Hulk. And so he was trying to control his anger by controlling his heart rate and avoiding him changing into this monster. And so these would be more advanced techniques, and also using tracking devices or heart rate straps to essentially monitor how you can control your meditation through breathing. Now, with all that said, between the easy, intermediate, and advanced ways of practicing meditation, I think the conclusion I've come up with is that you just have to start, and you can't get too stuck on the time. You can't get too stuck on the methods of doing it. You just have to start with one simple method and practice it, and then get into the habit of trying to sit down and practice it when you get a chance. Now, for a lot of busy people, it's almost impossible to sit down in a quiet place, as they like to mention. And so I find that even using my headphones with noise cancellation, I could be in a noisy place, or I could be in a room with my kids running around, and I can still block those noises by using noise canceling headphones and even get in a meditation. Now, obviously, you will start to hear things because they get really loud sometimes. And I'm talking about the kids, not the guided meditation. But you can kind of zone out by using those techniques. And the reality is, you don't have to sit for a long period. Even if you're in the car and you're waiting at a traffic light, these are little moments that you can start meditating. Obviously, I'm not asking you to meditate when you drive. You should never do that. But there are moments in your day where you can actually practice meditation. It doesn't have to be for a fixed period. But the reality is, I found the most benefit if you can sit for 20 minutes and longer. And I know for a lot of you out there, you're going to be like, that's quite long and it's too hard, and I just feel it's wasting my time. But if you get to that sweet spot of about 20 minutes, you then really get into a flow state and a meditative state. And the more you do it, the quicker you'll get into it. And the reason why I say that 20 minutes is kind of good is that on really tough days where you've had a big day the day before, you want to be in a space where you have the time to actually get into the meditative state, rather than to force it and feel like it's been 10 minutes. You're looking at your watch and you're like, I still haven't got there. Maybe I should just stop. So 20 minutes is sort of that buffer that gives you that time, even on bad days, to get into the state. Even if it's only for 30 seconds or 10 seconds, it's just a great feeling. And it really centers you around your focus and also how relaxed you feel. Well, I hope this show basically gave you some ideas, if you haven't been meditating, on what you could do to improve. And if you have been meditating, I would love to know in the comments about what works for you and what you have found to be quite beneficial in your life when it comes to meditation. This wraps up this episode of Peak Performance Hacks. All the links and resources are in the video description or in the resource section, whether it is on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider subscribing. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a review so that more people can discover our podcast and it could benefit them as well. Until I catch you next time, speak soon.